Hello, happy Tuesday. Thank you for tuning in to the Katie Sassine Show. As always, I'm your host, addressing the indoctrination of the nation. Now, what are we being indoctrinated into lately? Now, we left off discussing the failed resolution in the UN, and we know that the resolution failed. The resolution had the purpose of acting upon Syria and reacting to them based off of the alleged attacks by the government. Now, the attacks did happen. The attacks were not alleged, but the question if the government did or did not perpetrate the attacks, I can't talk today, that's up in the air. And, before that, we talked about the 6th District election, which is today, and FYN will be attending a particular party. We won't reveal which one yet. But if you know someone in FYN or if you'd like to email me about it, you can email me at katie@fetchyournews.com. Just check below, check the banner below for that kind of information. Now we've got that up. That looks awesome. So, Jon Ossoff is a very popular candidate, and he is the leading Democratic candidate, endorsed by the DNC very much so. And I touted Bob Gray as a great candidate in the Republican Party because he is the MAGA candidate. He openly supports Trump. So, now on to today's topic. We are discussing something that's a little bit funny and a little bit ridiculous. Topic 3, Press Secretary Sean Spicer on Syria and Hitler? Yes, on Hitler. So I thought, from what I knew, Hitler had possibly committed suicide, or he was somewhere in South America, hiding out. The biggest rumor is that he committed suicide after the aftermath of World War II, so that he wouldn't be held, by the court of law in prison for the rest of his being. And, for whatever reason, Sean Spicer thought it was relevant to bring up Hitler when talking about Assad. And he was totally off the wall. So on Russia Today, this tweet says, "I screwed up. Spicer says he let Trump down when he compared Assad to Hitler." So let me first have Sean Spicer's back. Sean Spicer has had to pick up a lot of slack because contrary to former President Barack H. Obama, Donald Trump is not the most eloquent of speakers. He's not. He says a lot of small words like huge, and he says okay a lot, asking for confirmation because he's still getting his feet wet with all this political jargon, I guess you could say, and just the demeanor that one should have as a politician. He's still getting used to it. And I think that Sean Spicer has a lot of slack to pick up for Trump when it comes to being the press secretary. He's got to explain everything to the people, and there's so many people out there who said, "Oh, I feel bad for Spicer, I feel bad for Spicer, I feel bad for Spicer," because he's got to always stick up for Trump whenever Trump has a slip up. And he has, and he's done a great job of that. But now people are calling for his resignation because Spicy Sean Spicer said on Russia that Russia is isolated. They have aligned themselves with North Korea, Syria, and Iran. With the exception of Russia, they are all failed states. And he went on to say that's not someone you want to align yourselves with. Those are not countries you want to align yourselves with. The countries that Syria aligns themselves with have terrible reputations in the international community and big histories, huge histories, as Trump would say, of violations of human rights. There is no consensus in the intelligent community that there was involvement in the intelligence community. Russia on Syria gas attacks. So that's where Syria cannot come to terms. That's why they vetoed, as they always do when it comes to matters of Syria. They always stick by the Syrian regime, Assad. As you may or may not know, Bashar Al-Assad was preceded by his father, who was president, who was touted as saving Syria and stabilizing the economy, as it was a very new country at the time and still is a relatively new country. Now his son, who to me parallels Kim Jong-un, is basically a dictator. People have wanted to take him down for years and years and years, but they have failed because he is so closely tied in to all of the elites and all the people with the money that he's not going anywhere, because he's got all, I guess, you know, he is at that point now where he is not necessarily a paid politician, but a career politician. He's a career politician. He trades corporations, probably, individuals, very elite, wealthy individuals that own corporations, possibly, for, you know, he gives them the policies that they want for money. That's what these kind of people do, and that's how they become dictators, you know, in summary. So back to Sean Spicer, because this is about Sean Spicer. Why would he even dare to make the comparison of Hitler? I mean, mentioning Hitler is never a good idea unless we are directly talking about Hitler and his involvement. But this tweet is just too ridiculous. I mean, or this, you know, what had happened here. So we got a video of what he said, and I would like to show everyone that so you can get an idea of how exactly it went down. He said that the Nazis did not use chemical weapons, which is false. And why Sean Spicer? Because I want to say that Sean Spicer knew that. And I was listening to WSB, a talk radio in Atlanta, and Rush Limbaugh's on WSB. He's national, as you know. And on WSB, they were trying to defend him, and they were trying to say that they didn't use gas, that what Sean Spicer meant was that they didn't use gas attacks, the Nazis, upon other civilians. They used them in people they held in concentration camps. But there's no difference, essentially, because a human is a human. So I heard the justification for it. It was something along those lines. If you know a justification for it, which I don't think there is a big justification for it, email me at katie@fetchernews.com. So yeah, let's get ready to check out this video. Spicer's false claims on chemical weapon usage. Let's check it out.
Hey guys, we didn't use chemical weapons in World War II. You know, you had someone as despicable as Hitler, who didn't even sink to using chemical weapons. So you have to, if you're Russia, ask yourself: is this a country that you and a regime that you want to align yourself with?
Wow. So I don't know where the confusion may have been with Spicer. Like I said, people have tried to justify it, but there are many people that are now calling for his resignation. I mean, someone of this level should know better. He really should. And if he had meant it in some way that could be justified, he should have stated it at the press release. But he didn't. He didn't say anything. And it wasn't a quick statement and then he just walked away. He had the time to recover. He could have said, oh, I misspoke. They did use chemical weapons. This is an action comparable to Hitler. And that's why we should defend the United States, and we should defend the resolution, and we should pass the resolution to act against Syria. But instead, we did not. Now, what exactly did the resolution state? Because I meant to read it out earlier to everyone, and I did not read it. I'm going to just read it out right quick. We don't need to pull up the photo or anything. But the draft resolution was adopted due to the vote against Russia, a member of the Security Council. It was related to the suspected chemical attack. Okay, so it was something about the resolution. What would it have done? Oh, I read this out. Yeah, what would it have done? It would have condemned the reported use of chemical weapons in Syria and called the government to cooperate with an investigation to the incident. So what the resolution was, made for was to hold someone accountable. The resolution did not specify the Syrian government. It just specified someone. We need to hold someone accountable for these actions, and we need to hold an investigation. That's pretty much it. It wasn't pointing the finger at the Syrian regime, like Russia would like to think. It didn't even point the finger at them, but of course Russia uses that as their excuse to veto the resolution to act and hold an investigation. And they think that we're just going to cause more issues. Russia thinks we're going to cause more of a rift. We're going to chance an international war. We're going to do what we did in the Middle East. We're going to wreak more havoc. Why get involved? Well, of course, Russia doesn't want us to get involved. I mean, that's territory closer to Russia. Russia's a huge empire. I'm sure they have dreams of expanding. And I'm sure, you know, that Putin wouldn't object to that. And relations between Trump and Putin are not going so well right now. Trump is expressing that on his Twitter page. Thankfully, China abstained and showed the U.S. some kind of respect at that, at the voting of that resolution. So, Spicy Spicer, he really messed up, and he was wrong. Simple, plain and simple, he was wrong. GOP rep called for Spicer's resignation after the Hitler comments. This is covered on Fox News. Representative Mike Kaufman, Republican of Colorado, made the comments during a town hall meeting in Colorado. He said Sean Spicer made a terrible mistake. Sean Spicer has come out and admitted he's made a terrible mistake, Mr. Kaufman. And then Kaufman proceeded to say he needs to go. And I've heard other people say the same thing, but he has picked up a lot of slack in all fairness. But I guess he just can't come back from this one. I don't know. And then Aurora, Representative Mike Kaufman went on to say, I just don't think he's serving the president well. And I have seen Sean Spicer trip up on a lot, so I can see where this man is coming from. And who knows who will be the next one for the job, the press secretary. We shall see when and if Sean Spicer gets replaced. Now, proof that Sean Spicer was wrong. I do have the proof for that. But we're running out of time right now. When we return from the break, we will prove that chemical weapons were indeed used in World War II and show pictures, show photos from chemicalweapons.sendmag.org. We'll even show the first trace recorded on chemicalweapons.sendmag.org of the use of poisoning others. And that was in 600 BC in ancient Greece. So stay tuned in. We'll be right back with you.
Ace is your helpful place for paint and home goods, tools, outdoor living, and lawn equipment. But did you know Ace Hardware of Blue Ridge is a little bit more? We have hunting rifles and accessories for your next hunting trip. We have Amish furniture imported directly from Ohio. And we have Ace Custom Woodworks for all your custom wood project needs, from cabinets to artwork. Ace Hardware of Blue Ridge. We have your new house in stock.
At Days Chevrolet in Jasper, we make everything better. It all starts with a huge new Chevy selection. Then we heap on the discounts to make sure your Chevy price is the lowest you'll find anywhere. And if you like great customer service, you'll love it at Days. Bigger selection, lower prices, easy financing, and great customer service. Your better day is just ahead at Days Chevrolet in Jasper, where new Chevys cost less.
Better days ahead, Days Chevrolet.
Find new roads.
North Georgia Diamond is your source for diamonds. Come on in to view the area's largest selection of fine jewelry at North Georgia Diamond. All repairs and designs are done on site by our jewelers. And North Georgia Diamond has the lowest prices on loose diamonds. You can also sell your gold, silver, and coins at North Georgia Diamond between Walmart and Lowe's in East Ellijay. Locally owned by Bill and Allison Craig, North Georgia Diamond is your source for diamonds in North Georgia.
Hi, I'm Rhonda the Mattress Lady, and this is my husband Gary, owners of Mattress Overstocked in Ellijay next to Walmart. And we want to earn your business. From the time you walk in our door to the time we deliver your new mattress to your door, you will see the difference. Our selection and prices are the best in North Georgia, and customer service is our top priority. So y'all come on in and let us help you find the right mattress at the right price. That's Mattress Overstocked in Ellijay next to Walmart.
What you gonna do with all that junk?
Spring is one of the best times of year to visit the North Georgia mountains. Not only do we celebrate fall apples in Gilmer County, we celebrate the blossoms of spring. The Georgia Apple Blossom Festival brings one exciting weekend to East Ellijay, Georgia. This free, pet-friendly event has over 50 hand-selected regional vendors offering food, art, crafts, kids' activities, and more. For more information, visit GeorgiaAppleBlossomFestival.com.
Hello, welcome to the Katie Sassine Show. Thank you for sticking with us over the break with those lovely commercials, especially if you've got the privilege of hearing the rendition of the Fergie song by the Waste Management Company. It's pretty impressive, recycling company. So, anyway, moving on. But before we do move on to the proof that Spicer was wrong, let's review what Spicer said. Spicer compared Assad to Hitler by saying that Hitler didn't even use chemical weapons, or we didn't even use chemical weapons in World War II. Hitler didn't use chemical weapons. Well, of course he did, and we know that. There have been many defenses for Spicer saying that he was saying it in a different context, etc., etc. He wasn't using it in guerrilla warfare. He was using it in controlled environments, aka concentration camps. Doesn't matter. He used them. That's the bottom line. And when we're talking about something as serious as human rights violations, which is as serious as it gets in the international community, when we're talking about war crimes, it is no laughing matter. And because Sean Spicer made a terrible comparison at the worst possible time, and not only that, Russia vetoed the resolution to no surprise. I mean, it just made us look dumb. And of course it made Sean Spicer look dumb, but it made the whole administration look dumb. And those people that love to harp on Trump, they love this kind of stuff. And that's why Trump needs to, be surrounded by people that are going to stay sharp and quick-witted, because this was really a bad slip-up. I mean, he acknowledged that he let Trump down because, of course, he has to, and he knows what happened. He knows what he did is very serious. But the timing of it all, with the fact that the resolution failed and that there's, the sarin gas attacks have been ongoing, hospitals in Syria have been destructed. We just went and bombed ISIS in Afghanistan. So much is going on and so much has been underway. We're dealing with North Korea. To have our press secretary of the United States come out and slip up on something like that is unacceptable. What I can compare it to is Susan Rice unmasked. And of course, we all know Susan Rice is known to be a liar. She lied about Benghazi and blamed the video for Benghazi, the amateur video. And she also lied very recently in the public about Mike Flynn and having a spreadsheet of names that she was sharing in order to investigate them. And these were all people surrounding the Trump campaign. So when there's so much going on like this, we just don't have time to wait for Sean Spicer to get serious. If it was a slip up, he owned up to it, but there's no telling where he's going from here. Now, how do we know Spicer was wrong? Well, I went to a website, chemicalweapons.cinmag.org, and I found a couple photos of proof. Good. So in World War II, 1939 to 1945, read it and weep, Sean Spicer. I know you already know this now, but read it again. World War II, 1939 to 1945. During World War II, the Nazis used poison gases in concentration camps, and the Japanese used them in China. But chemical weapons are not used on European battlefields. So, indeed, the Nazis used poison gas in concentration camps. It says, but chemical weapons are not used on European battlefields. Is that what Spicer was referring to? That's what I'm trying to say. He was referring to a different context, but it was still inappropriate, and it still didn't make any sense for the topic of the conversation. So then, 600 BC, ancient Greece, the Athenians besieged the city of Kira. They poisoned the besieged city's water supply with heart-toxic extracts of the hellebore plants. So more about these pictures. Let's keep them up there for a minute. They're nice looking photos for chemicalweapons.sinmag.org. Hitler did indeed use chemical bombs in World War II, and the use of toxic water in 600 BC to the city of Kira, which must have led to some bad stomach aches there later, and probably a lot of deaths in 600 BC. And that's the first recorded use of poisoning people in on the timeline on sinmag.org. So anyway, very interesting stuff. I recommend checking out that timeline on sinmag.org. It has every trace of chemical weapons ever used. So CENMAG, CENMAG.org. Check out chemical weapon timeline. Just type it in, Google search chemical weapon timeline, and it will probably pop right up for you. So, like I said earlier, people are now calling for his resignation, for Sean Spicer's resignation, and, you know, it is what it is. I don't know what he expects. He probably thinks it's coming. So I don't know if he has any kind of agreements worked out. We'll just have to see how it plays out. And so moving on back to Syria, talking about poison, we're going to look at a post from the BBC on their YouTube channel featuring scenes of the poisoning going on in Syria and different scenarios to check out to give us just a holistic perspective. And there's a very good narrative voiceover over the video, good reporters in there, so let's check it out.
5-year-old Ibrahim knows as he went to sleep in his Spider-Man suit and woke up in a nightmare. Now he's in a hospital bed, grandparents at his side. Ibrahim and Teba's father among the dead, the many victims of a toxic cloud which enveloped their village yesterday, breathing in the poisonous gases as they slept.
My grandchildren were sleeping. Everyone woke up to a loud noise. They went outside, and that's when they came across the chemical attack. They just fell to the floor and died.
World leaders arriving here in Brussels this morning have seen attacks in Syria time and again. Many in no doubt who is behind this latest atrocity.
I've seen absolutely nothing to suggest that, or rather to lead us to think that it is anything but the regime.
I called out to the UN chief Antonio Guterres. Was this attack a test of the UN's resolve?
I don't think we need to classify if it is a test or not. Everything we do is a test to a certain extent. This is a moment of truth.
With every attack in Syria, the words grow ever stronger, but they're essentially the same. Condemnation of yet another atrocity, calls for an investigation, and warnings of a price to pay. But time and again, it's Syrian civilians who continue to pay the heaviest price of all. Russia says the Syrian military did carry out an airstrike. But its military spokesman said they struck what he called a terrorist warehouse with an arsenal of toxic substances. A weapons expert told the BBC the chemicals were most probably dropped from the air.
The claim is rather implausible. If a facility on the ground was hit by munitions dropped from the air, you would get other materials as well as the particularly poisonous materials being spread. There have been accidents in production plants in the past, before chemical weapons were banned. These haven't produced the same sort of spread of materials as we're seeing here. So this leads me, on the evidence that we can see so far, to believe this poison was from weapons dropped from the air.
This horrific attack is the deadliest Syria has seen in 4 years. The world said then that President Assad had to give up all his chemical weapons. But it's clear, Syria is still a country with the worst kind of weapons and the will to use them. Lise Doucette, BBC News.
So, sad video, of course. It started out with a young boy. This was posted on April 5th, 2017, a day after the gas attacks were announced. And on the BBC News channel, you can see it on YouTube. Featured the Syrian boy who woke up poisoned in, I believe, his Spider-Man pajamas with his grandparents there at his side. And the reporter described the Syrians who were gas attacked as victims of a toxic cloud. And that gives a pretty accurate image, according to the woman that later described what actually happened. The Syrian woman, the translator voiced over and said that people heard a loud noise, they walked outside, and then they fell to their deaths from the chemical attack. So they were disturbed, they were rattled by some loud noise outside, and naturally, to go see what it was, they go outside, and lo and behold, it's not an attack that's already happened. That attack is there for them and awaiting them to fall to their deaths. So, very scary stuff here. And the use of chemical weapons is sad and unfortunate, but it is occurring right now. This is real. This is the real world. I mean, can you even imagine seeing a young loved one that you or I know fall to their death because of an evil regime or terrorist group? Now, Russia says Syrian military carried out an airstrike. So Russia admitted that there was an airstrike carried out by Syria. And the military spokesman said they struck a terrorist warehouse, a warehouse filled with an arsenal of toxic substances. So that's the only kind of explanation that we have, that I have, from Russia on Syria. Now, I know that Syria has come out and publicly blamed Israel in its opposition for the attacks. They haven't said that they perpetrated the attacks, but they blamed the terrorist organization, and they blamed the opposition of Bashar al-Assad, however you like to say it. So what it sounds like is that they're just being sarcastic, and they don't want to tell us, you know, that they did it because they don't want to incriminate themselves. And, but, you know, thankfully, President Trump is taking action. Unlike what President Barack Obama did in his 8 years, he's already started to take this action in his first 100 days. I mean, this is super impressive, and I 100% support Mr. President Donald Trump right now. And if you're about America and you want to protect your country and your people and your family, then he's looking out for you. So that's good news. Remember to follow me at KatieFYNTV, and you can email me at katie@veterannews.com. We'll be right back with you here tomorrow, same time, same place. Thank you so much for tuning in.